Hey everybody, it's Cyborg, and welcome back to the Injustice series. I am joined by Temp, and today we have Injustice Year 5, issue number 20. It is the last issue, not counting the annual, which we will get to, but it is the last one of the main series, and we have finally reached the end. If you have not checked out the previous issues, definitely go do so. We have, all told, I think 73 issues or something like that. Something crazy, I don't know. I'm not going to do the math right now. It's somewhere around 70 issues. So definitely go check them out. Put a lot of work into it. Love you guys. You're my child. I think biologically all of your fathers.
Sorry you had to find out like this.
Yeah.
We can move on forward from here, though.
Took a weird turn, but, you know, I Shyamalan'd it the whole time. You never saw it coming.
It was all building up to this, guys.
Yes. I did it all for you. Anyways, it was just a smoke screen, all of this whole thing. I didn't know how else to do it. I wrote 10 different ways I was going to do it on paper, and seemed like the most reasonable. Anyways, let's get to the actual issue and stop stalling. Alright, so we start off at the Hall of Justice, and Superman's sitting on his throne, and it says here in a little blurb, we're just trying to make Temp happy and give him something here. No, I'm just kidding. Because it seems like every time we say, oh, I wonder if they'll follow that up, instantly it's followed up on.
Like, I'm thinking about this. Yeah, the benefit of this being the last issue is this is the last time I have to eat my own shit, so it's kind of.
It's never even like 5 issues down the line, so we're like questioning it. I think the Spectre, like the whole Spectre thing, is the only one that kind of got it waited on the reveal. But this every other time it's been like, I wonder if they're really going to give us answer. Boom, answers. Anyways. So Superman's sitting on his throne, and sure enough, he's talking to Catwoman, and we find out why she kind of turns to the regime. She doesn't really join the regime so much as she... Yeah, she's bargaining with Bruce's life. She wants to essentially... She's going to rat out where the insurgency is located, like where they're hiding out in exchange for Bruce's safety, that they're not going to kill him. Superman seemingly agrees to this, as we will find out, and they are kind of taken back by why she would do that, but they assume that she loves him based on her response, and yeah, she just wants to know if they have a deal. We cut to the lead mines, and Batman's working with Lex, and they have the portal open. We see images from the last issue, so it's all coming full circle here. So they're observing it. They need to get all the heroes at the same time because they seemingly can only do it once or whatever, and they don't want to bring in somebody like Doomsday at the same time, so they're letting the heat die down first before they transport them, and they want to make sure that that world isn't screwed by them taking the heroes away, so they want to make sure that Doomsday and everyone like that's being apprehended first. So they're being smart about it, and then in runs Batgirl and Batwoman. They say Superman is coming. The Redcoats are coming. The Redcoats are coming. Insert Batman vs. Superman Lex Luthor with his red Jolly Ranchers. And then we Jerry feed them into your mouth. Anyways, so Lex immediately figures that somebody probably gave him up, and he's going to stay and take a stand. But Batman says, no, you need to go. You need to be our last hope just in case. And he says understood, so he seemingly makes it out of there. Batgirl and Batwoman are trying to work the transporter and get everything figured out to transport the heroes while Batman is there to buy them some time. So Superman's just going crazy, eye lasering everything in sight, and Batman's dodging everywhere. He almost kills Batwoman and Batgirl as he's eye lasering everywhere. He sees Batman, he charges forward, and meanwhile Batgirl and Batwoman, they're at the actual like transporter to bring in the heroes. They're waiting for that perfect time. They notice Joker has a nuke, so that complicates things a bit. So they're still waiting. Superman beats the crap out of Batman, and then Superman's allies, Wonder Woman, Hal, and the gang, they're all there to witness this at this point, as Superman's got Batman seemingly defeated here, and Batman seems like he's giving up. He even says at one point that, you know, he realizes it's over, and seemingly he's stalling here. And then we go to the next chapter, and stalling. Batman's essentially kind of he's somewhat telling Superman what he wants to hear by admitting it's over, but at the same time he's challenging Superman. He's saying he doesn't know if it was all worth it, but Superman says he does. He knows it's all worth it, every drop of blood. But then Batman starts kind of bringing up past things, like, you know, that this seemed like it was more than just about, you know, it seemed very personal, from the essentially threatening to destroy the entire city of Atlantis, the destruction of the Green Lanterns, Ollie's death, Black Canary's not death, but as far as Superman knows, death, Montoya's death. As far as Batman knows, I don't even think Batman was privy to Fate taking her away, now that I think about it. So, and yeah, Renee Montoya's death and Qatar's death all on his hands, as well as Alfred. And he says no sense in denying it now, which gets a good reaction from Hal and Wonder Woman looking at each other like they, oh, like Hal's
yeah,
like, oh, oh no, you didn't.
Yeah, there's another good one in the issue as well, but we'll get to that.
And then we have Batwoman and Batgirl, and they discover that it's seemingly somebody's going to have to stay in the energy field while all of this takes place. So Batwoman volunteers to do it. Batgirl tries to talk her out of it, saying, no, you don't get a volunteer, but Batwoman says it's the right choice. You're the tech-savvy one, so if things go awry, you need to be here. I'll be the one that kind of... They don't know if it's going to kill her. They don't know what it's going to do, what effects it might have, but she's going to take that risk for the greater good, because it's really their only option at this point. The jig is up. Everything is... It's the last hurrah here. It's their last hope. Batman stands up, and now he's really pressuring Superman. He says, do you think Ma and Pa Kent would have liked you, or not liked you, but do you think they're okay with you being a dictator, who you've become, and do you think Jor-El would be proud? Do you think he'd feel the same way as Ma and Pa Kent? And at this point, Superman bitch slaps him, knocking his cowl off. And yeah, so everyone else is just seemingly looking on as this is going on, all of Superman's allies, and he's seemingly gonna do like a death blow on Batman here, because he's got him by the throat. He's just one punch away. And as this is happening, Superman then finally comes to his senses, and he realizes it's a trick, and you're not trying to reason with him, it's purely a distraction. Superman starts searching. He immediately busts through the wall, which is fantastic, because he's like, him coming out of that wall, like he's just showing his torso through the wall, and his face looks funny, but this reminds me of Freddy Krueger in like the Nightmare films. Like he's just coming through the wall looking straight out of Nightmare on Elm Street. And yeah, Batgirl's like, oh.
He's got like this Jay Leno thing going on with his face. It's all fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then yeah, they need to make things happen because they're out of time here. And Batgirl, Superman says, what is this? And Batgirl has a great quip here saying what real justice looks like. So sick burn here, number like 58 on Superman. And Batwoman says, now we see the blast starting. There's electricity and stuff going everywhere. And Superman immediately does heat vision on Batwoman. But at the same time, the blast goes off, which makes everyone disappear and transports them at different places in the world. So, is Batwoman still alive? Don't know. Which makes me happy, because I thought she was as good as dead right there. I I will take an ambiguous ending over for sure death, like skeleton laying there. So,
Yeah.
it's at least if they want to add her in like Injustice 2, it gives her that sliver of hope.
Maybe the final panel of the comic was just a burnt corpse in the desert.
But no. So we see the transporter. There's nothing there, so we don't see a body or anything. We see Batman and Batgirl seemingly got transported to... Which I don't know why he and Batgirl are together. They weren't even, like, next to each other, so I don't know how that happened. But they're in, like, a forest. But we see no trace of Batwoman. Hal is somewhere in the Northern Lights. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Superman's in a karate pose, and he's in the desert, as well as Wonder Woman. And they got scattered across the four winds of the earth, so they're in just complete opposite ends of the earth. And Superman just grabs her by the wrist and says, "Find him! Find him!" And then we cut to Batman and the Joker. Joker's getting up off the ground. This is the Joker that got brought into the universe, and he says, "This is somehow your fault." And Batman says, "Metropolis, ... So it looks like it's the Batman from the other universe. Both of them from the other universe. So this is weird. Yeah, everything's all confusing at this point, and it says the beginning, and it's a lead into the Injustice Ground Zero comic series, which we're not going to cover. But,
yeah, no.
yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say there, other than all it is, as far as what I'm aware of Ground Zero being, because I did my research, it's the game storyline, so it goes along the path of the game storyline, but it's told through Harley's point of view. Don't really have any interest in covering that. I'd rather just review the game storyline, and the Injustice 2's comics at this point is already starting, so yeah, we're going to be doing the Injustice 2 comics, so you'll have that, and I'm excited for that. We're all excited for that, but yeah, not doing Ground Zero. Not time for it. And this is already a huge undertaking, so no Ground Zero. However, we might do like a read-up on the summary and give our thoughts on if there's anything that sticks out that's worth commenting on. That's something I will look into, like reading an overall summary of the series as a whole. I don't... Like, if there's more on Batwoman, so to speak, if there's a follow-up on Batwoman, yeah, you're damn right, we'll comment on it in our overall retrospective of the series, which we will be doing a separate video that retrospects the entire comic series, kind of giving our thoughts. So we will do that, so you do have that left, as well as the annual for this year. But yeah, so if there's any interesting stuff in Ground Zero, we will cover it in the retrospective series, our review of just the overall impressions of the comic series. Because I do want to know what happened with Batwoman, if there was any follow-up. But on that note, thoughts on the issue, sir?
There's some funny art here. In the second chapter, there's a really funny panel. It's like the third line of panels where Superman doesn't even have a line of dialogue. He just has his arms spread with like this stupid smile on his face. Yeah. It looks so comical. It's like, come on, Bruce, join us.
Are you not entertained? Yeah, he's smiling, yeah.
Oh, so that's ridiculous. Also, they forgot to draw Batgirl's hair in the first chapter. Let me see if I can find that panel. It looks really... I didn't realize why. I was like, Batgirl looks wrong. Okay, yeah, it's like a little bit past the middle.
I saw it. I see it. It's with the rumble thing. Yeah.
She looks awful, but I don't know why. It's like something's missing.
Yeah, it's like a female Batman. Or no, it's like Catwoman with Batman ears and the cape and everything. It's weird.
With a really long neck.
Yeah.
God, I wish I had more to say. I think that's it. I don't know if I have more to say. I mean, the Batgirl stuff. I mean, as much as like no. Like as much as I was like.
You mean Batwoman?
Yeah, Batwoman. Yeah. Yes. It's like as much as I did not want her to die, it was hard not to giggle once it started happening. It was hard not to laugh. Like, oh my gosh, they're gonna do it. Those sons of bitches. Right at the very end.
I'm happy. Like I said, I'll take an ambiguous ending. Hopefully, hopefully more research will show that Ground Zero follows up on that and says that she survived. But who knows? I really hope that she did, though, because usually with comics, if you don't see a body, they're probably not dead. I would assume that if they wanted her dead, they would have just shown a body. I mean, I think they left it purposely ambiguous because, as you said, this came out last year, so I mean, they knew, they're full well knowing of Injustice 2, so at that point I don't think they needed to kill off the character. They just needed to write her off somehow to explain why she wouldn't be there for the game's events. She could be off in another part of the world separated from everyone else, and that in itself would explain why she may not be in the game. So
I think that's exactly what they'll do. Kind of like they did with Martian Manhunter, where they rationalized him being around because when he went into the water, he went to Atlantis or something. Yeah. I think they'll do something very similar to that. Like she's probably, I don't know, maybe with the Guardians, who knows?
Yeah. So I'm happy with that, and it was a close call because, yeah, I mean, they even played with our emotions. I wonder if they did that on purpose, just to be like, people are probably expecting her to die, so let's just really tempt that fate. But even the panel's ambiguous, for God's sakes. Like, half of the panel is red, like his eye laser, and then the other half is blue, like the energy taking her away. So it's like we don't actually see her like on fire or anything crazy like that. So yeah.
How do you feel about the Catwoman stuff?
I'm torn. On one hand, I'm glad we got a reason, and I feel like her reasoning is sound. Like she just all throughout the comic series, she's consistently been like, you know, this is all ridiculous. I mean, her very first interaction with Superman when she was taking that guy's jewel, like taking stuff from his apartment or whatever, and then Superman chased her down into the sewers. She was like, you guys should just talk it out. This is ridiculous. Like, she's always been of the impression that this is so unnecessary. There's so much unnecessary violence and death happening from this. So I feel like it's very consistent with how she's been written thus far. The only thing I'm torn about is, why would she even begin to trust Superman to do the right thing at this point? That's the part where I'm like, don't be stupid. Why would you think, like, giving people away, like, Superman's gonna keep his word on this? No way, with his track record so far. So that is kind of like a dumb moment on her part.
I 100% agree, and I'll add on to that. I wish she could have struck a little better of a bargain. Like, only if you promise not to hurt Bruce.
Yeah.
Or Barbara.
Yeah.
Or Kate.
Yeah, she only mentioned Bruce, Lex? So it's like...
Superman's like, you know I can't... Wait, what? But anyway, Lex, of course, being Lex, but... Yeah, no.
It would have been nice if she included the rest. Yeah, just say, don't hurt my friends. I just want this to be ended. Whatever. If you're going to throw us all in prison, fine. But just let us, you know, move on with our lives or live in peace or whatever. Like, yeah. So I agree with you.
Awful, like, if like there's like pieces of Kate all over the walls, and she's like, "We did it, Bruce. You're safe. We did it."
But I will say, I'm really intrigued with Catwoman going into Injustice 2, because if this is her reason for betraying, and I use that in kind of quotations, because she did betray, but she did it for a somewhat reasonable reason, like a nice reason. It's not like she's like, fuck that Bruce Wayne, I hate him, kill him. Like, no, she wasn't doing it. It wasn't for bad intentions. I'm intrigued what she does in Injustice 2, because we know she's with the Society, so I'm wondering what is the Society's ultimate motivations and their ultimate goal that Catwoman's okay with? Because if they're about violence and killing, then why would Catwoman go along with that, and why would she be a part of them? So they gotta be. I'm really intrigued with what she does. So, and her interactions with Batman going forth. So, anyways, and I obviously got to re-watch the game storyline because I don't even remember what their interactions are, if any. But on that note, I have nothing else really to cover on this episode. Obviously, we will come back and recap the entire series in a sense of our thoughts on the entire series. But in terms of this issue, yeah, I think we hit the main points here. And I'm happy the ambiguity of Batwoman's death, or not death, I mean, her survival, whatever. And I was okay with Catwoman's reasoning, though it was stupid of her to think that deal was going to be okay. So, yeah, I'm happy we got the finale, too. Following up on our thoughts from the last issue, I thought this was a reasonable finale. I thought it was sufficient, so...
Yeah, the last issue makes a lot of sense now that I know how they're going to set up the climax in this issue.
Yeah, indeed. So, on that note, guys, we do have the annual to come back for you guys, and that'll wrap it up, as well as our thoughts on the overall series, and the Injustice 2 comics, which we'll be covering as well. We're doing it chapter by chapter, though. We won't be doing it in full issues, so it'll be very shorter videos, probably 10 minutes max. But yeah, you'll hopefully some good stuff with the return of Mr. Taylor to the series from the year 1 and 2 and part of year 3, so it'll be nice to have him back, as well as the annual number 4, which we both enjoyed quite a bit. So yeah, have that to look forward to, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us for this entire journey. We will see you tomorrow for technically the end. So see you guys later.
Appreciate it, guys. Peace.
Adios.